Alright guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, we are talking about the top baits for the month of August. Let's get into it. Okay, so first off, let's talk about the month of August. Number one, it's hot, okay? Especially here in Texas, August is usually one of our hottest months. And it's hot, the water temperature is warm, the bass go deep, and they go shallow. They like to find shade, they like to sit right where that thermocline is, and they get keyed in on bait and bluegill. And the bluegill kind of slow down on spawning because they don't spawn a whole lot in the month of August, but they spawn throughout June and July. So they're more focused on shad. The reason for that being is that even in August, towards the end of August though, you'll start getting those cooler nights. Maybe if you're in Texas, no. If you're like above Texas, probably. Like you start maybe thinking about wearing a hoodie, but you're probably not going to because it's like probably like feels like heaven besides like 100 degrees. And they get more keyed in on those shad during the end of the month of August. So I have about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have about 8 baits for y'all for the month of August. They gotta have. I'm just telling you, you just gotta have it. And let's get into it. So first off, let's start in like the morning, okay? You go out there, sunrise, before sunrise, you know, you gotta start off with your top water. So say you go offshore, you see some bass schooling, you have to throw your top water. Right here, this is the Megabass Giant Dog X. Now, you may be saying, that doesn't look very giant. I know. Here is it next to a Cinco. It's like literally shorter than a Cinco. And I think it's better, even though it's only 2 hooks. Now, we'll get into that, okay? We'll get into that. The shower blow is a little bit more finessey. So on those, like, cooler, calmer, top water, like, mornings, like, it's like no wind, nothing, sunny. I think a little bit more finessey top water like this Megabass Giant Dog X is a little bit better than a giant, loud, walking shower blow. Now, I don't have a shower blow with me. It's at the lake. But if it's, like, windy or cloudy or like the bass are blowing up on it and they're not getting it, then you move to a shower blow, which is a 3-hooked bait. Now, the bass can, okay, I've had this happen last time I was there. The bass were eating it at the head, so they would like come up like right, it would like hit it right here on the head. Because it had a whole bunch of teeth marks on the head, but none on the body. Now, for the reason for that being is, whenever it sits in the water, these hooks sit like that. So when if they hit the head, then they may miss it, but they may not, because I was getting them from his top hook mostly. This top hook would be in their mouth, and this back hook would kind of be on their fin. That's how you know. Whichever hook is in their mouth is the one you know they went for. So if the back hook's in their mouth, they went for the back of the bait. Or if the middle hook's in their mouth, they went for the middle of the bait. But if the middle bait is barely in their mouth, then they went for the head of the bait. So when I switched over to that, because I was getting blow-ups, okay? I was getting lots of blow-ups. So I switched over to that shower blow, which is a little more aggressive, but they still ate it and blew it up on it. But I caught most of all of them because I had 3 hooks. I had one here and then one here at the head, and that was the one I was getting most of all the bites. So you can throw that probably around offshore brush piles, like what I found to be like the best spot to throw this thing. You can also throw it around grass lines, points, humps, rocks, pretty much anything. Now, if you have grass, though, shovel hook bait ain't gonna do it. A dang frog gonna do it. This is a Berkeley Swamp Lord frog. Now, usually I throw the Spro bronze eye frog, but I have found that I just kind of like this frog better. I was trying out this Swamp Lord frog. And the thing about this frog, okay, is I feel like the skirts, different material, I think they move better in the water. And this frog's just a tad bit smaller and a little bit softer. So I think it gets more hookup ratio because I've lost none. I've got every single hook in this frog. Like every single blow up I've had, I've got that fish in the boat. Now, whenever you do get a hook set on a frog, you want to like, seriously, whoosh. Go, you want to give them a couple, like maybe a second or 2 to eat that frog because they're coming out of the water. So let's take this little thing for example. So they're coming out of the water and they're opening, and then look, the human reaction time is about 2 milliseconds, okay? So, boosh. Okay, it's been 2 milliseconds, and the bass hasn't even closed his mouth yet. You rip it straight to frog straight out of his mouth. Ready? Boosh. Boom. You got him, okay? Bass comes up. 2 milliseconds, boom, it's gone. Bass comes up. 1, 2, joink, you got him. That's how I found to get most of all the frog bites. And they choke it like that. Okay, here's a bass's mouth. I have them all the time. Top 2 hooks in his mouth right there, they ain't getting off. That's how I have all the bass hooked because I wait. And I like to throw that matted out hydrilla, milfoil, tules, especially tules, lily pads, really good around lily pads, cattails, whatever vegetation you have in your water, that's pretty much what you want to throw it around. And whenever I get in those holes, okay, so it's matted out, I'm working it kind of fast, I get in those holes, I'll give it a real nice pauses. And that's usually when I get that big old bass to blow up. But sometimes I'll get a big old bass to blow up in the mats. Boy, that's funny, just trenching them out of the mats. But yeah, I like to throw that frog in matted out places. But you can throw it around wood, you can throw it around docks, you can throw it in open water. I've thrown it around open water a lot just because I just want to have one lure in my hand that I can catch topwater fish on all day. That's a frog right there. And then sticking with that shallow, let's stick with shallow for a little bit. Say, okay, it's midday, it's hot, you're hot, no clouds in the sky, 100 degrees, about 9 o'clock, okay? Pick up a dang jig, okay? This right here is a hack attack flipping jig. But I like a jig that I can have in my hand and I could fish grass, and I could fish wood, and I could fish docks, and I could fish rocks, and even if I wanted to, I could drag it offshore. And I find that a more, let's say, more slender looking jig head, like this one right here, works better for that, like as a flipping jig does. But I think I may have found the number one, the best jig ever, okay? Now, I don't have it with me because I broke off to a dang 2-pounder with it, okay? Cranked him in a dock and he broke me off, okay? The best jig, I think, in the whole world is the V&M Baits, okay? It's their skipping jig, 7/16 of an ounce, the Pacemaker series. I think that is the number one jig because if you look at the picture on the screen right now, its head is more like here is it compared to a Dirty Jigs of Torlo fishing jig. That head right there is a lot more like rounded than the V&M skipping jig. I think that jig, literally, it comes to grass like a dream. But you think about this style head right here is whenever you skip docks or wood, that pointed head will get stuck in the V's of the wood and the V's of the dock and stuff. But that a rounded head will get through it. And the V&M skipping jig got through the wood and it got through the grass like a dream. I'm not even joking. Like literally that V&M jig may be the number one jig on the whole market. I'm not even kidding right now. And then I like to throw a pack slim on the back or some type of crawl trailer. You don't really have to worry about what type of trailer you throw. Like a Rage Crawl works good, Pocket Slim. Those two are my favorites. But like the Rage Crawl is more like, more aggressive, I guess, more kicking. And the Pocket Slim is more like a flowing bait. But I kind of like the Pocket Slim a little bit more finessey, you know what I mean? But yeah, I love a jig. And also I like to downsize my jig skirts. So I like to cut. So I'll cut my jig skirts a lot, and I'll cut them in all different lengths and sizes and stuff. So I don't have one. I won't just take my scissors and just cut that, and it's good. I'll cut short, I'll leave some long, I'll cut some in the middle, I'll cut some all over the place. So that is bait problem number 3. And now we're still sticking with shallow. So say, even your jig's not working, all right? My jig ain't working. Throw a weightless category, okay? A weightless stick bait, a weightless fluke is really good in the month of June. Like a Zoom Super Fluke or a weightless stick bait. Just throw it around the grass mats. Like you have matted out grass, throw it around the grass mats, work it fast on when it's matted out, and then just kill it in those holes and work it real slow. Man, I've had great days throwing around weightless bait. And I don't think a lot of people throw it away a weightless bait because they always put something on the end, just something. But like I think a weightless category is some of the best ways to get some good old bites, just to make bites happen. You may not catch the big fish, but you catch some fish, and that's all what matters. You know what I mean, bro? But you never know. You may catch a big fish in there every now and then, so you never know. But like the weightless category, great. You can throw it under docks, you can throw it around wood, you can throw it in grass, you can maybe even throw it offshore if you really had that much patience. But who does anymore these days? But that's if everything else fails, my jig not working, my top water frog's not working, now I'm fishing shallow and I want to still fish shallow, I'm going to fish that weightless category. Weightless fluke, if they're really keyed in on bluegill, but if they're, if they're keyed in on a shad, like you see shad being blown up a shallow, you want to fish that, maybe like a white zoom super fluke, but you can pretty much get away with either one of these. I will say, the fluke is a little bit more darty. And then if you can't even get bites on the fluke, okay, if your bass forecast rating is like a 1 or a 2.1, then you want to switch to this bad boy, and it'll kind of just shimmy down there. And the dog days of summer, it'll get bites. Trust in the force. Trust in the force, young one. Okay, now we're done with shallow. Some of these baits you can still throw shallow, but most of the time you throw them out deep. Let's start out with, okay, it's still early in the morning, it's cloudy, you want to find some schools of bass. Let's talk about shad imitators. Number one, a line through a swim bait. My favorite is the Bass Mafia swim bait right here. It took a long time to remember that name, but it's really good. Really good swim bait. Line through, has a nice, very stout, very sharp hook in the back of it. And I think, even though it has no weed guard, it is very, very weedless. Because like, okay, look, it's coming over a branch. It's coming over, and like, you pulling it, okay? And the branch, it'll come over, and it'll kind of roll over the branch like that. I don't know why. But you see, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little tiny line through right there, and it's kind of pointed, so it's coming out like this, and it kind of provides a weed guard for your hook. So like, they're coming over, say the branch is here, okay, it's sticking up like that, your line hits it, and your bait just kind of goes up and over it. So you don't get snagged a lot. Then you're like, say you're like mag draft or something. Even though our mag draft is a great bait, you get snagged a lot because, well, there's a bottom hook on the bottom of it. So, I mean, like, I fished this thing, I cast it out there, I either let it hit the bottom, and I'm just slow winding along the bottom, trying to find some schools of active fish, or I'm riding it through the middle of the water column if I'm seeing bass blow up on shad, and I want to see if I can get them on a big swim bait. It's not really a big swim bait, it's a 6-inch swim bait, and its color is called blackback shad. Really good color, and this has a real wide action, so not the best cold water, but heck, it's like 105 degrees in Texas right now. It ain't cold water. Last time I went to the lake, the surface water was 94 degrees. That was the highest I ever got to. So yeah, it's pretty hot. And the bass are active, so that swim bait right there can really get them. Alright, and this next bait may surprise you, like, extremely, okay? This is not a bait you throw in the summer at often. This is a bait you throw in the wintertime. But boys, I'm gonna whip it out for you. A dang umbrella wick. And you may be saying, what? Plot twist. Yeah, a dang umbrella wick, okay? This is the Shad Wagon from Guggen. One of the cheaper umbrella rigs out there, but heck, it sends up to some fish. Now, the one thing about the A-rig during the summertime, you don't get any big fish at all. Like, I fished this, and I'm probably gonna have a video coming out soon about fishing the A-rig in the summertime. But you do not get any, you may, but you usually catch a bunch of smaller fish. 2 pounds, 3 pounds, maybe if you're lucky, but you don't get those 6-7 pounders like you do in the winter and fall time. But I will say that might help with your size is adding bigger swim baits. So these are just 3-inch larger size, caught a bunch of small fish, But once I started adding, I added this. This is the Guggen Saucy Swimmer, and like 4.5 inches or something like that. And I literally like caught a bunch of bass. A bunch of most of my bigger bass came on this bigger swim bait because they were wanting a bigger meal. So I mean, I kept all these 3 swim baits on them because this is really hard because it's so slimy to rig on a screw head jig head. And these screw head jigs are the tactical screw head Matt Allen, something like that. I don't know, they're from Dirty Jigs. Really sharp treble hook, really stout hook. You can throw it, I almost thrown this on 20-pound line, slinging it around, and boy howdy, it was getting some big, small fish bites. I'm just saying that. Like, I hooked 3 at one point on this, and then 1 flopped off right at the boat. But I've hooked like doubles, triples, dingers, and I was slapping them. Small fish, not big fish, but I was catching a bunch of small fish, fishing this over brush piles offshore. But, I mean, it's a good way if you can't catch no fish and you just want to catch some small fish. Throw an A-rig. I don't know. I mean, I was catching a bunch, and I had to include it in my video, but you know you won't get any, you may get like 1 or 2 big bites, but usually you're going to get like 2, 1, maybe 3 pounders, just a max. But yeah, that's pretty much all you're going to get on this. So, and then, bait number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Going with that offshore bites again, or shallow. You can fish this lure shallow as well. It is the drop shot. Now I have a robo worm in some random color. I don't know what color this is. And you may be saying, why do you have an extra wide gap hook on there? Because I ran out of stinking finesse little worm hooks because I was catching so many bass on it, and I got snagged one too many times. So I had to go down to a wide gap hook, but I was still catching bass on it. So this is a robo worm, and boy howdy, catching bass, I'm telling you that. Now, the one bad thing about this worm right here is because, well, you only have this part of the worm making action, but this bad boy, to a 1/4 ounce weight, can get some big old bass that won't eat anything else to eat. Suspended up there in the water column, just popping it around up there. You can get some big old bass, or small bass, or a bunch of bass to eat. If ain't nothing else to eat, and you roll this around there and jig it around a little bit, you'll be getting some big bass, I'm telling you that. Big old barrels, sonny. Big old barrels. And like, you could fish this around grass, especially if a weedless one, but if you're fishing offshore, like around like sticks, around like rocks or something you won't get snagged around, you can get a nose hook. And with a nose hook, you probably get more better hookup ratios because you have like nothing to set the hook with. And then I like to use a 7/2 medium light, extra fast finesse rod. This is the Johnny Morse Carbon Light with a Daiwa Fugo 2500 XH reel. 10-pound braid, 6-pound leader. One of the best combos on the market. It is feather light. Super good balance with the rod and the reel. I mean feather light. Like, if I take out my big old frog rod and then I'm not getting no bites, so I throw this thing, it's like holding a feather. Because like this thing, oh my goodness, it is so light. Big bass have been caught over 5 pounds on this rod, and boy howdy, it feels like you got a 20-pound catfish on the end of your line, son. You're like, your wrist hurts out up because like your rod's bending about like that right here, bro. It's nuts. It's nuts, but it's super fun. It's really fun. And you can throw that around grass lines, wood, sticks, any place where bass live, you can throw that, especially if it's weedless. And then baits. The last bait in one of the baits that I go to if I can't get any bites, just like the drop shot, is boom, bada, bam. the shaky head right here. This is a pretty big shaky head worm, but you could get 6-inch version of this. But this is the 8-inch net bait called the finesse worm. I'm pretty sure it says the Magnum finesse worm. And the head I have on here is a 1/4 ounce 30 jig shaky head. And then the reel combo I have, my bait finesse reel is 6'9", medium extra fast cast-in jerkbait topwater rod. For my rod and my reel, I have the Cast King Z4 reel on here. Really good, really cheap BFS reel, but it catches and it performs better than some of my $100 reels, I'll tell you that. And I have 15-pound break to a 15-pound fluorocarbon leader because I was getting a lot of breakage with 10-pound leaders, so I went up to 15 and hooked every single fish. Every single fish that came in the boat. Okay, every single time I got a hook set, a good hook set into them, they always came in the boat. I didn't break off to any fish. And I just love that combo, bro. It's a really good combo. It can catch big bass. Caught a 6-pounder on this combo, skipping it under docks. Yeah, apparently you could skip a thing on the docks and catch some big old bass. Because like, I was having a rough day on the jig, so I switched on to a wacky worm. Caught a couple, but like they're small, so I was like, man, I might as well do a shaky head. Boom, 6-pounder. I've caught probably more fish on the shaky head this year than probably any other bait alone. Maybe, I don't know, the frog is close runner-up. I love frog fishing. Just jacking them on the frog, man. But right now, mine don't have a frog rod. If you can't tell, I'm almost crying. I love frog fishing. One of my favorite things to do. Yeah, I broke my rod tip and then the rod seat came out. It's kind of a Guggen rod. Guggen, if you're watching this video and send me a new rod, hit me up in the comments. Get that worked out. Or any other rod brand. Take St. Croix, Mega Bass, any 13 fishing, lose. Anybody. I don't care if it's, I'll take your rod for free. I'll take it. And with that, we come to the end of the video. So if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel so you get some more uploads like this. And yeah, peace out. Catch a big one. Peace.